The night he left Istanbul didn't feel real. The city that once cheered his every goal now watched in silence as the plane's engines roared through the midnight air. Semih Kılıçsoy, Beşiktaş's young prodigy, the kid who carried the weight of a nation's dreams, was gone. No farewell press conference, no grand announcement, just whispers and a shocking headline: Semih Kılıçsoy signs for Cagliari. In a football world obsessed with money and fame, this move made no sense. Why would the rising star of Turkish football choose a mid-table Serie A club over the comfort and glory of Beşiktaş? That question echoed through every Turkish cafe, every late-night sports show, and every fan's restless mind. But those who knew him best understood. This wasn't about comfort. It was about proving something. They said he wasn't ready for Europe. They said he should stay in Turkey, build his numbers, wait for a big club to come calling. But Semih had seen what waiting does to young talents. He watched players with promise fade away, forgotten before they turned 21. So when Cagliari came knocking with a serious offer and a promise of real game time, he didn't hesitate. He wanted challenge, not applause. He wanted to grow in silence rather than glow in comfort. The transfer broke the internet that night. Social media exploded. Some called it career suicide, others called it brave. Memes, debates, endless speculation filled the timelines. Even Beşiktaş fans were torn between pride and betrayal. He gave us hope, one fan wrote, but he also left too soon. Yet deep down, every true football lover knew the truth. Greatness doesn't wait for permission. It seizes the moment. When Semih landed in Sardinia, he stepped into a different world. Gone were the roaring 40,000-strong crowds of Vodafone Park. Here, the air was slower, the stadium smaller, the language foreign. But beneath that calm surface was an unspoken hunger. Cagliari was a club that fought every season for survival, a place where hard work mattered more than fame. It was exactly what he needed. The training sessions were brutal. Italian defenders didn't care who he was. They pushed, kicked, mocked, tested his every move. But Semih thrived on it. Every tackle sharpened him. Every rough challenge toughened him. His first weeks were quiet. He didn't post fancy photos or talk about new chapters. He just worked. Locals saw him running alone on Sardinia's beaches at dawn, headphones on, eyes locked on the horizon. For him, this wasn't just a transfer, it was transformation. A chance to reset, rebuild, and rise again. And then came the moment that changed everything. It was his Serie A debut. Cagliari versus Lazio. A cold, rainy night. He started on the bench, waiting, watching, feeling the rhythm of Italian football. It was faster, harsher, more tactical than anything he'd seen before. The coach finally called his name in the 72nd minute. The crowd barely reacted. Most didn't even know who he was. But within 10 minutes, they would never forget him. A long ball came from midfield, slicing through the wet air. Semih darted between two defenders, took one perfect touch, and fired a left-footed rocket straight into the top corner. The stadium froze, then erupted. The commentator's voice cracked. Semih Kılıçsoy! What a debut! And just like that, a new name was written into Serie A history. That goal wasn't just a moment of brilliance. It was a statement. To everyone who doubted him, to everyone who laughed at his decision, to everyone who said he's not ready. Over the next few months, he kept proving them wrong. He learned Italian quickly, connected with teammates, and adapted to the tactical discipline that defines Serie A. His off-the-ball movement improved. His finishing became clinical, and his physical strength stunned even the veterans. Italian pundits started calling him Il Ragazzo di Ferro, the Iron Boy. His confidence grew with every match. And so did the whispers. Juventus was watching, Milan was watching. Even Premier League scouts were taking notes. But for Semih, fame wasn't the point. He remembered where he came from. The narrow streets of Beşiktaş, the worn-out pitches, the coach who once told him, "You'll never make it unless you suffer." That line stayed with him. Every bruise, every sprint, every lonely night in a foreign apartment, he carried it all like armor. He didn't crave headlines. He craved growth. And he got it, one hard-earned match at a time. Then came the turning point, an away game against Inter Milan. Cagliari were struggling, down 2-1, 10 minutes left. The coach threw him in again, desperate for a miracle. The San Siro lights burned bright as Semih took the field, his breath fogging in the cold night. The crowd jeered, "Who is this kid?" But he didn't flinch. In the 88th minute, he made a darting run behind the defense, received a cross, controlled it mid-air, and chipped the keeper with ice-cold precision. Silence, then shock, then a wave of applause, even from rival fans. That night, Italy realized he was no fluke. After the match, reporters flooded him with questions. "Semih, are you planning to move to a bigger club?" He smiled softly and said, "I just moved to one." That humility, that focus, it became his signature. Back in Turkey, fans started wearing his Cagliari jersey. Turkish commentators proudly called him Bizim Çocuk, our boy. He had done the unthinkable. He left as a prodigy and returned in headlines as a symbol of courage. Off the pitch, though the story wasn't all glory, the distance hit him hard. His family, his friends, the language barrier, it all tested him. There were nights when the silence of his apartment felt heavier than the loudest stadiums. But every time he looked at the framed Beşiktaş photo on his desk, he reminded himself, this pain is temporary, the purpose is not. He trained harder, pushed himself further, because he wasn't just playing for himself anymore. He was playing for every young Turkish kid dreaming beyond borders. Half a season later, Cagliari climbed higher than expected in the league table, and much of it was thanks to Semih's goals. But more than that, it was his attitude that inspired his teammates. He celebrated their goals more than his own, chased every lost ball, and fought till the last whistle. He brought belief to a team that had forgotten how to dream. When the summer transfer window approached, offers poured in. Napoli wanted him. Roma wanted him. Even whispers of Premier League interest surfaced. But Semih didn't rush. He stayed grounded just as he always had. When asked about his next step, he said, "My story isn't finished here yet." That answer told everyone who he truly was, a player who valued growth over glamour. And yet, deep inside, he knew the story was far from over. The same fire that pushed him to leave Beşiktaş still burned within him. One day, he would walk onto the biggest stage, Champions League nights, packed arenas, roaring fans. But until then, he would keep writing his story one match at a time. Because Semih Kılıçsoy wasn't just chasing success. He was redefining what success means. So the next time you hear someone say he left too soon, remember this. Sometimes you have to walk away from comfort to meet destiny halfway. Sometimes, the biggest leap isn't into fame, it's into the unknown. And Semih Kılıçsoy, the boy who once lit up Beşiktaş, is now proving it under the Italian sky. If you felt that story, hit that subscribe button right now and join this journey. We tell stories of real football passion, the kind that doesn't make headlines but makes legends. And who knows? Maybe the next time we meet, Semih Kılıçsoy will be lifting a Serie A trophy, reminding the world that courage still counts in football. Until then, keep believing, keep watching, and keep chasing your own dream.